Thank you. Before we begin the session, I would like to inform everyone here that today is the Independence Day of Bangladesh. And I request all our delegates and guests from Bangladesh to kindly come here on the stage. Our Director of ISCS in front of the stage, our Director, Mr. Arindam Mukherjee, shall felicitate all of you with flower bouquets. Thank you, everyone. Now we begin our technical session 3, BIMSTEC, an instrument for people-to-people connect. I request Mr. N.G. Khaitan to chair the session.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Mr. Arindam, for asking me to chair this session. You know why I agreed to chair this session? Because for me this subject is very dear. When I became last year the president of Bharat Chamber of Commerce, I was thinking, people were telling me, take a business delegation to Europe, take a business delegation to Africa, take a business delegation to America, Japan. And I was very clear that if I ever take my business delegation, it will be to my most neighboring country. And you will be happy to note my first business delegation to the foreign country I took last week to Bangladesh. So that's the importance I give to the neighboring countries, because as you all know that when we stay in a building, the first thing we want to know about our neighbors. They become our friends. So when I took this business delegation to Bangladesh, it was a very, very successful trip. We could sign a memorandum of understanding with Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce. We got an audience with 3 central ministers of Bangladesh, including Railway Minister, Minister of Commerce, Minister of Foreign Affairs. We also met the chairman of the Bangladesh Bank. We met the Industrial Development Authorities. So for me, the people-to-people contact is very important. And what was important then when I went to Bangladesh, they asked me that you must take a trip to Padma Bridge. And we took a trip to Padma Bridge because our timing was very tight. We had a very tight schedule. And it took us about 4.5 hours to 5 hours to go and come back. And we started late in the evening and came back. But what fascinated me was that the connectivity, it will improve between the south of Bangladesh and the capital of Bangladesh. And they told me with this one single connectivity, the GDP of Bangladesh would go up by 1 to 2%. That was something very fascinating, that how important the connectivity is. People-to-people contact. Our virtual world is over. I was talking to Arindam that you had this BIMSTEC meeting, physical meeting after how many years? He said, after 2-3 years you are having this BIMSTEC meeting. But virtual world is not a world of, it's not an option. It is an option only when we cannot meet physically, because you know, when as a lawyer, I'm a lawyer, and when we want to talk to the client physically and we want to talk to the client over virtual, there is a different connection. And similarly, when you were arguing a matter before a judge virtually and you are arguing a matter before the judge physically, there is a different connection between the lawyer and the judge. People say that, you know, the eye contact and touch is the most important facet of human behavior. So physical contact is very, very important to make our life not only a beautiful life, a successful life and a happy life. Today we have with us not the speakers from Bangladesh, from our other neighboring countries. And our first speaker, I think I've been given a list, is Mr. George Cook, who is a diplomatic historian and strategist, head of Our Long Initiative Sri Lanka. Dr. George H. Cook is a diplomat, historian and a former Sri Lankan diplomat who served in the Lankan Foreign Office of Lanka for more than a decade. While stationed at Embassy of Lanka in Paris, he was also in the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, which is known as a world body, well-known world body, UNESCO. He has served as the Deputy Director of Bandaranaike Bank Center for International Studies for over 3 decades, from 2018 to 2021. He is the initiator of Orlog Initiative and a senior lecturer at the University of Colombo. He is an alumni of the Netherlands Institute of International Relations, Klingdenel, and was a visiting fellow UBen Ratchansani University in Thailand. He has also served as a visiting lecturer at Sri Lanka Technological Campus and at Bandaranaike International Diplomatic Training Institute, among other higher educational institutions in Sri Lanka and overseas. His area of research include diplomacy, foreign policy, regionalism, and integration. What better person you could have than him to address you on the physical connectivity. Thank you, Mr. Cook. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those very kind remarks. Firstly, a very good morning and a huge word of thank you to the ISCS and the Ministry of External Affairs of India for putting together a program of this nature. As was mentioned, people-to-people contact becomes so very important when we actually meet, when we actually network, when we actually get to know each other. And this is something that has been taking place in the course of the entirety of this conference that we've been here from yesterday onwards. And what we have seen, what we have begun to understand, is that when people meet, when people find commonalities, when you find areas of interest, when you find areas of cooperation, there's so much that can come out of it. The synergy is what we always look for. And certainly in BIMSTEC, we're trying to do that. When we talk about BIMSTEC and we look at this landmark anniversary that we are at right now, where we are going from here, we're seeing a rejuvenation of this grouping. We've heard of so many groupings around the world. I was involved in a virtual discussion a few days ago, and there was an Indian scholar who talked about how we talk about an alphabet soup, and I guess in our part of the world we talk about an alphabet curry, because we've got so many acronyms, so many words coming together, so many things that we're doing. But what are we trying to get out of it? What is our main objective? This is where we are looking at how we can bring the region together, how we can really enhance integration in our region amongst our member states. And that is where focusing on people-to-people contact becomes so vital. Simply because whether you take the technology sector, whether you take agriculture, whether you take transport, whether you take climate change, whatever the area may be that you want to focus on, you are going to realize that people are at the center of it. People are at the heart. People are the ones who are going to implement projects. It's not name boards of countries. It's not a piece of plastic. It's not a piece of paper. It's going to be people who are going to put proposals and policies together, and people are going to implement them. People are going to review them. People are going to feel the impact of them. And people are going to see change. And this is something that we are extremely keen on trying to push as much as possible. I want to touch on an area of looking at people-to-people contact, but also focusing very heavily on 2 particular sectors, youth and education, and how we can yoke youth with education. And this is something that is going to see much change. I do understand that there is another panel on education, but I want to touch on the relativeness in connection with awareness building. And that's what we do back in Sri Lanka in terms of the Awarealog initiative as well. When we look at our region, when we look at all our member states, there's a lot that divides us, whether it's geography, whether it's history, whether it's culture, but there's so much more that unites us. And this is what we need to focus on. We need to be looking at the common denominators across the region, whatever the region may be, whether it is our region or any other region, in order to further integration and regionalism. These are key facets that we focus on. And why talk about the youth? Why focus on the youth? If for a moment, I invite all of you to turn around and look at the back of this hall. If you look at the back of this hall, you are going to see future additional secretaries, future vice chancellors, future secretaries general of organizations. You're going to see presidents of associations. You're going to see heads of chambers. You're going to see academics, professors, people who are going to lead countries in the future. This is the backbone of any society. And when we look at the BIMSTEC region, it's very interesting to see a quarter of most populations comprising the youth. This is the case in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka. In Thailand, it's at about 30%. In India, it is at 65%. This is a phenomenal number. You are looking at a huge portion of the population which has to be involved in the future, not just of this country, but all countries in our region. Why look at the education side of it? We're beginning to realize that when we talk about the future, what we are discussing and what we have been discussing here yesterday and today, many of us might not be here to see the results of it in the future. The youth are the representatives that we are sending into the future. And this is where education plays such a critical role. If we have not imparted, if we have not shared, if we have not made sure that there is a very firm foundation, we are going to be on a very shaky wicket at that point. And this is where, whether it be formal or whether it be informal education, we need to be mindful that as much resources are poured into the sectors, as much as possible is done to enhance where we are going, because countries that have not done it, countries that might have failed to do it, see results later. We reap what we sow. We've got to be very mindful of that. And education is not a sector in which you are going to see results immediately. You won't see it in a year, you might not see it in 2 years. It might take a decade to go by. But if the correct ingredients have gone into it, the result is going to be absolutely amazing. When we talk about taking BIMSTEC forward and enhancing people-to-people contact, I'd just like to share a few proposals or a few suggestions of what we can do and where we can take this region, sub-region, as we have been talking about since yesterday. We talk about the importance of adaptability. We're living in an era with much change. We saw that with COVID-19. We were forced into the future. We had to jump on the bandwagon of technology. If we didn't, we would be left behind. It was a situation of either swimming or sinking. And we had to make massive changes to ways in which we were interacting, methods of engagement, methods of education, methods of cooperation. This took a drastic change, but we did it. We adapted. The human species is always resilient. We're looking at ways of surviving. Charles Darwin talks about the species that survives being the species that is willing to evolve. If we do not evolve, we are not going into the future. We have to evolve. And we've got to be mindful that irrespective of what the country is, irrespective of what our GDPs are, irrespective of our resources, natural or otherwise, irrespective of what we are doing, we're all in one neighborhood. This is the biggest connector. You and I can change our neighbors. You can shift, you can buy a new house, you can get a new apartment. Countries can't. We are together in it. And we've got to make the most of a region, a geographic region. And that is the Bay of Bengal region that we all sit in. Firstly, in terms of building awareness, how much are people aware of BIMSTEC? How much are people in tune with what the BIMSTEC vision is? How mindful are we of aspirations of BIMSTEC? What does BIMSTEC want to achieve? What are the main areas of focus? What has been done in those areas? What has each country done? Have we stopped and reviewed that process? Have we taken stock of where we are at the 25th anniversary? Are we satisfied with the progress that has been made? What more do we want to do? How do we want to change, maybe a word that we can use, but how much more do we want to do to enhance this organization, this grouping? We do want to see a much stronger grouping. We do not want to go down the road to the 50th anniversary, let's say, and stop and think, there's a lot more that we can do. Yes, there's always a lot that we can do. But what do we do? What initial steps are we taking? What intermediate steps are we taking? What long-term measures do we have in place? This is where we've got to really be mindful that building awareness is absolutely crucial for this grouping in taking it forward. We've got to embrace, as we already have, the whole process of digitization. We're looking at an era in which the digital realm, the virtual realm, has become extremely relevant. Whilst it might not be the optimal platform for us to meet, it is certainly a tool for connection, for enhancing connectivity. This is where we can harness technology. Moving into that realm, moving into that sphere is going to really transform how we are being viewed, how the world is looking at BIMSTEC. BIMSTEC is very important for its member states, but we must also become a platform from which the world is going to reach out to us. How are neighboring regions going to reach out to us? What is the building of awareness of BIMSTEC that is being done in the ASEAN region, for example? What is being done in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization? What is being done in West Asia? What is being done further afield? How involved are we? How interconnected are we with the European Union? What are we doing with the Organization of American States? Are we reaching out there? Are they aware of our existence? Or are we another bunch of letters? That's not what we want to be. We need to be an organization that is very well understood. And this is where that people-to-people contact is going to be important for the furtherance of visibility. Secondly, to touch on building platforms. These are connectivity platforms. Yesterday, the Secretary General informed us and talked to us about how a decision has been taken for ministers to meet in the second week of November. We've structured it. We've put in a framework. We're looking at annual meetings. We're looking at furthering the integration of the region with these discussions, taking it one step higher there. Can we also go a step further now in terms of including youth perspectives prior to this meeting, where we have conclaves taking place throughout the year at the national level and thereafter at our regional level, where ideas, proposals, suggestions are brought on board, not just in one sector, but in all of the key areas that BIMSTEC focuses on. The youth perspectives would be very important for those perspectives to be heard at the ministerial meeting, letting them know what the youth, the leaders, not of tomorrow, but of today, are thinking about already. Where are we trying to take this region? What are we trying to do? It's not just going to be confined to one group or one tier of society, but we need to be mindful that everyone is going to be included, and it is very inclusive there. Issue-based programs, whether we're looking at particular issues in the 14 sectors, whether we're going beyond that, whether we're trying to look at how we can integrate some of those areas, how countries with areas of speciality in some of those areas can enhance it. Those are some of the areas that we can undertake through youth dialogues that can be held prior to the ministerial meeting, so that suggestions and proposals can be brought to the table and everyone is seated at the table. Finally, we talk about the importance of integration, involvement, coming together. What are we doing in terms of research? In terms of building a research network in BIMSTEC, looking at how BIMSTEC can be further understood by people of BIMSTEC. This should not be another acronym, as I mentioned earlier. This should be alive, it should be evolving, it should have people at the center of it, but it must also have an academic perspective. Linking that, bringing institutions of higher education, universities, think tanks, bringing all of them on board, ensuring that no one is left out. You need to strategize. If we do not strategize, if we do not reflect on the past, strategize where we are right now, the future is not going to be that bright. And if we want that bright future, we've got to be mindful that people have got to come together in the region. The knowledge sharing, innovative mechanisms that can be brought into place, things that can be done, evolved in a BIMSTEC manner. We can evolve the BIMSTEC style of doing things. It should revolve around the region. The networking connectivity, proposals from all sectors would be absolutely vital in taking the region forward. So whether it is in terms of building awareness across the board within our region and outside of it, whether it is creating connectivity platforms, especially those which have the youth focused on them, or whether it is in terms of where we want to go with strategy, research, and building research networks across our region, it's absolutely essential that we do that. I want to just mention the non-aligned movement for a moment. When we talk about the non-aligned movement, we realize it was not termed the non-aligned organization. It was not called the non-aligned association. Movements can be fluid. Movements can gain momentum and movements can lose momentum. And we've seen that happening to now. We do not want anything of that nature happening to BIMSTEC. We've taken concrete steps. We've set up a secretariat. We have areas of focus. We have clear ideas of where we want to go. We know what we want to do. We've got to achieve it now. People are at the center. People have got to make the difference. If we don't do it, who will? We can't wait for other regions to do it for us. We can't wait for other countries out there to do it. We're not doing it to satisfy anyone out there. We're doing it for our people. And this is where, in enhancing people-to-people contact, it's so very important that people own BIMSTEC. BIMSTEC should not be something that is confined to state-level interactions, or only amongst government leaders, or only amongst ministers. It should be owned by the people. Everyone in every BIMSTEC member state should feel, should understand, should know what BIMSTEC is all about. It is in that building of a fairness, it is in that generation of dialogue that we are going to see an enhancement of BIMSTEC and a promotion of people-to-people contact. Thank you.
Sir, the one take I had from Mr. Cook was the connection. How do you connect between BIMSTEC country was, one was geography, you said, one was history, one was culture, and I would say the other is also language. If you look at the geography, I don't have to say that we are all connected. And in fact, India has 4 borders, bordering states with BIMSTEC country. And that's our geography. I mean, we are connected with Bangladesh, we are connected with Nepal, we are connected with Bhutan, we are connected with Myanmar. And in fact, I would say 5, because it's only between India and Lanka is only 23 nautical miles. So, you know, you could be in Lanka through a small boat within 2 hours, you know. So I would say, except for Thailand, geographically we are so connected. As far as the history is concerned, you can look at, you know, how strong the Indian civilization was. India is a Hindu country. The Hinduism was one of the oldest religion of Lanka. Then as far as the Muslim population is concerned, we have about 17 to 18% of Muslim population in Calcutta with Bangladesh. Then Buddhism. And Buddhism was born in India. And Thailand and Sri Lanka were basically Buddhist countries. So religion-wise, we are very well connected. And as far as the language is concerned, you know, fortunately, we all speak English language. So it's very easy to communicate and with each other. So there is no reason why, you know, all these factors is one of the prime reasons where we can have a strong connectivity. So one of the take is that all these factors are one of the reasons where we can have a strong connectivity to grow and develop and have a better fellowship with each other. So thank you very much, Mr. Cook, for your wonderful talk. Our next speaker is from a country which is known as one of the happiest countries in the world. I was asking him that what is one thing which makes you very happy? And why are you also happy? I mean, they said that, you know, we love our nation, we love our people, and we care for each other. The bonding between Bhutanese is very, very strong. We are there to help each other. I mean, that is one of the reasons that they feel very happy. And I think we can emulate what Bhutanese are doing. I mean, to love all people who are within the BIMSTEC country, to be for each other whenever there is a need. So I think all these factors are very, very important also for BIMSTEC countries. So we have Professor Nidup, Assistant Professor of Norbling Writer College, Royal University of Bhutan. Professor Jigme Nidup has served at the National Environment Commission Secretariat, Phungshalochu Hydroelectric Project Authority, and as an adjunct lecturer at the College of Natural Resources. He has been a resource person and a panel member of VICA-VOS of the Royal Civil Service Commission examination and has headed the Department of Geography and Planning at Sherubustri College for more than 7 years. He has participated in numerous workshops and educational courses, and both in the country and out of the country. They are relevant to the territory education. He is an alumni to the University of Newcastle, Australia, from where he earned his MSc examination and in environmental studies. Please give a big hand to Mr. Jigme Nidup. You can speak from here or you can go there where you want.
A very good morning to everyone. As mentioned, I'm Jigme Nidup from Bhutan. Currently, I'm teaching in one of the private schools under the Royal University of Bhutan. Firstly, I would like to thank ISCS and Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, for giving me this platform to share my views and also to attend events. Basically, I'll be sharing my views on the topic BIMSTEC, connectivity through education. The cooperation and connectivity among the member states are very important to ensure the success of the BIMSTEC. I don't deny the fact there are so many issues that affects the cooperation and connectivity among the member states of the BIMSTEC. Sociocultural connectivity is an important factor with great social diversity and cultural diversity. So we have different languages, we have different religion, we have different culture, we have different levels of education, and also we have different priorities and preferences. So therefore, even if we look at the education, level of education, it varies from the country to country. Education significantly affects the lifestyle of the people and even the way of their thinking, their attitude towards work. Similarly, we have different religion that also plays a very significant role in people's life. Religion even determines the way people perceive or think about their work. Another thing is the economy of the country is different. The biggest challenge facing many countries today is growing imbalances between the economic development and social development, leading to conflict and social crisis and hampering the development. We need to address these issues relating to poverty, inequality, aging population, and unemployment. It not only needed social response, but could also have economic implications. High level of poverty and inequality could slow the process of narrowing and eliminating the income gaps, thereby complicating reforms, reducing the quality of the institutions and policies, undermining social cohesion, and endangering social and political stability and making growth unstable. I very well remember yesterday one of my colleagues talked about climate change. As mentioned, Bhutan is a landlocked country, and he specifically mentioned that Bhutan is a carbon negative. However, carbon emission is a global problem. So Bhutan has become vulnerable to climate change. Whatever the initiative that we take to fight against, to combat, or to mitigate climate change, the single effort made by Bhutan will not prevent the Kingdom of Bhutan suffer from the negative effects of climate. Bhutan doesn't have seaports, nor any railway track. Bhutan is import-driven rather than an export. And BIMSTEC member countries are composed of varied and interacting culture, civilization, and ideas. There are differences between the countries or member states, be it terms, as I said, be it in terms of language, culture, pace of economic development, lifestyle. Let us tap these differences and challenges into our opportunity and work towards the vision of shared future. When I say vision of shared future, I don't deny the fact that BIMSTEC has done a lot of initiative in order to fulfill the common goal, but BIMSTEC can still do more. Therefore, as an educationist or educator, connectivity through education ensures the success of BIMSTEC towards enhancing cooperation in the region. In that case, in order to achieve this, I would like to propose few steps to ensure and enhance the connectivity among the member states. Firstly, BIMSTEC universities. This could be a long-term plan to establish BIMSTEC University, where multicultural students from the member states can enroll into the university. And further, we could recruit even the tutors, professors, lecturers, and expertise from different member countries. In a way, they will learn about different cultures, ideas, exchange programs, ideas and other. But only thing is, modality has to be worked out, like credit system, where it is being recognized by other countries, so that the students who pass out from the BIMSTEC University could pursue further studies in other universities. Other could be the joint collaborative academic research project. This is nothing new. Collaborative joint research can be conducted on a common problem or issues of the member countries. It can be done by both students and the faculty members. And even as earlier presenter said, We should not leave behind the youth now. And third one is faculty, students and faculty exchange program. This is a platform that I see where students can share their ideas, cooperation, innovation, inclusive society, improving the well-being and social welfare of member countries. We need to promote the greater awareness and appreciation of each other's tradition, culture, heritage, and that can be done through the people-to-people connectivity, and that should be regularly or timely held among the countries, member countries. Also, we can conduct cultural festivals, art exhibition, film festivals, and other cultural events. These are doable. Further, we can exchange experiences in terms of preservation of traditional cultural and cultural values, and that work will contribute to the building trust and common sense of belongingness. When I talk about exchange program, it can be even applied to the community level, as well as younger generation, where they can develop the sense of community spirit or BIMSTEC spirit. We have to reach to the grassroots level. The other one is establishment of fast information flow. In terms of data and information in regard to Bhutan, we are far behind compared to other member countries. For the education purposes, to share the information and data about certain sectors like health, industry, agriculture, culture, and tourism sector would be very useful for the students to learn or enhance their learning. So, based on this three, there are many how we can go forward in order to ensure the connectivity with the people. These are some of the important things that I've said, and in order to achieve this three important points, we should liberal visa regime should be adopted to increase the people connectivity among the member states. Then other thing is that we need to come up with trade fairs, exhibition, conferences, workshops, seminars. Exchange of information program should be planned accordingly or regularly. It's not one time. Further, as I stated about the establishment of BIMSTEC University, so educational institution must encourage to collaborate and integrate through BIMSTEC mechanisms, either in terms of collaborative research, exchange program, and all those things. So these are few areas that will ensure the success of BIMSTEC towards enhancing educational cooperation in the region. Lastly, as an educator, as I work in one of the private schools, I'm also interested to discuss further on the collaboration with any educational institutions in terms of students and faculty exchange program. If any institutes are interested, so we propose for the collaboration with educational institutes among the member states. Thank you and have a good day.
What an outstanding statement by our speaker. I mean, Mr. Jigme Nidup dealt on very important areas. I mean, connectivity through education. It's such an important area. I mean, look at the connectivity of Western countries through education. I mean, look at the connectivity of education between other countries and United States of America, or how the Australia has also developed as far as the connectivity with education is concerned. This connectivity of education can be a very, very important issue, and I think BIMSTEC University is a very good idea which you have said. The other, he had taken very important issues. He took up the issue of student-faculty exchange program. He took up an issue of cultural festival, art festival, then fast information, liberal visa, then trade fair. On behalf of Bharat Chamber of Commerce, I can give you my commitment to have an annual trade fair. We want to organize an annual trade fair in Calcutta every year, or maybe alternative year, between the BIMSTEC countries. I mean, we will take a lead, and I would like Arnab Bhau to help us in this regard, so that either it will be annually or biannually, we can have a trade fair between the BIMSTEC countries. That would be one area where we can be a facilitator of connectivity. So thank you very much for your, sir, outstanding views of suggestions. Now we have Mr. Narut Chinseri, Deputy Dean of Research Affairs, Faculty, Political Science and Public Administration, Chiang Mai University, Thailand. Chiang Mai has been one of the I have enjoyed going to Chiang Mai, sir, and I found that city which is on the hills to be very fascinating for holidays. So it's nice to know a person, the city which I really enjoy, Chiang Mai in Thailand. Dr. Chensri is a professor of international relations, having research interests in Japan and Asian relation, the development of regional transport in East Asia, and comparative regionalism. He frequently publishes peer-reviewed academic articles and monographs in Thai language covering topics like Southeast Asian regionalism, US-China relationship, Japan strategy in Indo-Pacific, he regularly contributes to the reputed Thai journals like Monograph of Security Studies, International Journal of East Asian Studies, the Journal of European Studies, Political Science and Public Administration Journal, Journal of Social Science, I don't know how many, Journal of Japanese Studies. He has earned the PhD from University of Leeds on Japanese and Southeastern Studies. So please welcome a person who has done so many studies, and so he has authored so many things. I mean, once I was reading his biodata, and I was really surprised that does he get time to do so many things? Thank you very much, sir. Please welcome.
Thank you, organizers, for having me today, and it's a very great honor. And India, this is my first time, and the area where I'm not used to. But as coming here, I think one of the issues that I want to discuss with you today is the role of regional integration and how regionalism could contribute to the understanding of what is transforming the world. When the organizer contacted me for the first time that I have to talk about people-to-people connectivity, as a scholar in international relations, I was wondering what could I contribute to this panel. And then it turns out that we have already two professors in the university talking about education. So without any further ado, as an international relation theorist, I'm going to talk about education as well as one of the mechanisms or one of the ways that could help contribute to people-to-people connectivity. Since yesterday until the previous two speakers, they touched upon the issues of the importance of higher education, and they stressed the importance that in order to increase the visibility and increase people-to-people connectivity, what we might do is we might encourage or enhance education, higher education collaboration between university. And I really like the idea of BIMSTEC University. And in that case, we can actually learn from the experience of ASEAN, where we do have a regional higher education exchanges. That could be something that we could contribute to what we can do to in strengthening the importance or the higher education exchange in the university. But we have touched upon many issues on how people have less knowledge or have less notion of BIMSTECs. What I'm going to talk today is I'm going to show you some figures or some data or some information which I gathered before I came here from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and some big university in Thailand, including Chulalongkorn University, Thammasat University, and Chiang Mai University, as these three universities have international programs and some big libraries that could show us some interesting information which I didn't know as well before I gathered this data. The first question that came up into my mind when I had to talk about people-to-people connectivity was that, do we even really have the knowledge or the understanding of BIMSTECs in our society? What is the existing number of studies in Thailand on BIMSTECs or South Asia as a whole? So in order to understand that, I started by looking into the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website, where should be like a focal point to try to promote the idea or the activities or the knowledge of BIMSTECs in our society in Thailand. And it turns out that from the information, BIMSTEC has quite received a great number from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but it's uncomparable to ACMEX and the MEA sub-region, not to mention the ASEAN, right? So with this one, you can see that ACMEX seems to be one of the most interested area where Ministry of Foreign Affairs focuses on. BIMSTECs follow that, SAARC. But when we look into the studies or thesis or research that conducted by master degree and PhD students at Thammasat, Chula, and Chiang Mai universities. These are the four interesting information I have found. There are just only one thesis from Thammasat University on BIMSTECs, one from Chula, none from Chula, and one from Chiang Mai University. ACMEX, SAARC, the Greater Mekong sub-region, ASEAN, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Myanmar, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. So you can see that the number focuses in Thailand, we focus on ASEAN and Myanmar or Burma because understandable is next to Thailand and we have to think about, we receive a huge number of students, exchange students from Myanmar. But what about BIMSTECs and ACMEX? Almost none. Right? So in terms of international relations perspective or in terms of the understanding of BIMSTECs from an international organization, BIMSTEC received quite small, almost none, right, in Thai society. ACMEX, a little bit. SAARC, okay. The GMS, the Greater Mekong sub-region, received comparatively higher, right? ASEAN is definitely, because it's the main international organization, so it should receive the biggest number of interest from people. Myanmar, the biggest one. And actually while I was trying to understand these figures, I tried to look into one by one research, trying to understand them, which area are they studying? Are they in the field of nursing science? Are they in the field of agriculture or something like that? Yes, most of them, like in Chiang Mai, when I browsed something very quickly, I found that many students from Bhutan or Nepal who studied in Chiang Mai University, they would study nursing science or medical school or agricultural things. So many of them would study that, but apart from Okay, so apart from that, I still have time and you can see the number, it's like 400. So if I had to run through it one by one and understand the area of cooperation or the area of study that they focus on, it might take some time. So I think it would be a great area that we could study or explore in the future, which area could be elaborated or which area could have more collaboration to understand the situation. But this one, you can see from the figure okay, it's come back, which BIMSTEC should be the other area where I could study further in the future. But that is the field of master degree and PhD degree thesis. Now look into the role of the university. Now, you can see from the diagram, the table, that I try to understand them from a political scientist perspective. And I found that I look into the faculties of humanities, social science, and international relations in central Thailand, north, northeast, and the south, which university offers which course or courses on South Asia International Organization, or SAARC et al. Or BIMSTEC. What I found when I looked through them, I found that most of the courses offered in Bangkok from Thammasat University and Chulalongkorn University. And you can see the module, for example, in Bangkok at Chulalongkorn University, there would be foreign policy of South Asian state, but not in the class of international organizations. From Chulalongkorn, from Faculty of Arts, there are some history classes. From Thammasat University, there's politics and government, international relations, South Asia in global politics. And Faculty of Liberal Arts, they do have contemporary history of South Asia, history of India, while Ram Kamheng and Sri Nakarintara Wirod and Kaset Sat. Most of them focus on politics and modern history of South Asia. In the north, as I come from Chiang Mai University, we do have South Asian Studies, which is only one module. But anyway, at Chiang Mai University, we have Faculty of Humanities who started to have a major in South Asia, and they give history and language courses to students who want to study South Asian language. From the northeast, we have one professor from Ubon Ratchathani, Professor Piyanat Soikham, who will be talking in the next session. And it could arguably, even me from Thailand, I would say that Ubon Ratchathani from the northeast turned to be the center of Indian studies in Thailand. It seems that Ubon Ratchathani has received a great number and collaboration from the Embassy of India. The South, we have Faculty of Political Science and Politics and Government from South Asia. So most of them focus will be concentrated in Bangkok, which is understandable because they are policy recommendation area and there are a lot of stakeholders in Bangkok. So Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Thailand try to promote the idea and the knowledge of BIMSTEC in the society. Recently, Ministry of Foreign Affairs allocated a huge number of funding to organize student activity, high school student activities and university student activities at Chiang Mai University. So we have quizzes, we have speech contests and activities with high school students to promote the idea and the knowledge of BIMSTEC. So what I'm trying to argue, and I agree with the previous two speakers before me, that actually in order to understand, to promote the ideas of BIMSTEC, or even the bilateral relations, or even the knowledge of Sri Lanka, India, Bhutan, Nepal, or each country, what we might do, research collaboration, that would be great. Academic programs would be great. One of the things that I would like to add on, I would say this, I think we should find maybe a principle or norms that South Asia and Southeast Asia shared. In Southeast Asia, we do have the ASEAN way, where the principle of ASEAN way of non-interference, non-intervention, or peaceful settlement, things like that, are the principle or the norms of ASEAN. What about, do we even have norms or principle or something that we shared between South Asia and Southeast Asia? And we might use that norms or principle to be the baseline of collaborations between the two regions. That would be something that I would encourage we to think upon and go beyond academic and go beyond economic collaboration. Normative collaboration could be something that we could work on in the future. Thank you.
Sir, one of the reasons also why I agreed to chair this session when I learned that I'll have Shri Arindam Basu here. I mean, we know him so well. I mean, he's a former sport journalist, which is my favorite. I do a lot of, at my age also, I love sports. And senior faculty of Sister Nivedita University and senior research associate of ISCS. Professor Basu is well-known name in the circles of journalists in Bengal, a topper in the Master of University of Calcutta in journalism and mass communication. He is an English honors graduate from St. Xavier's College, a recipient of Santosh Kumar Ghosh Memorial Award. He has worked for 15 years in media in various houses, including United News of India, NewsX, Sports Illustrated. In 2010, he started his boutique PR agency, Carpe Diem Communique Private Limited. In 2020, he began focusing completely into academics, though he had been visiting lecturer at University of Calcutta, Women's College, among other institutions for over a decade. And this is very interesting. He has published, he is a published author with 3 books to his name: a personal memoir of Calcutta named Millennium Memories, a collection of short stories named Everything You Never Expected, and an academic book, The Reporter, which is co-authored with him by Mr. Sujay Athar. He has also been featured in Sports Anthology, The Best Indian Sports Writing. His core area of work includes reporting, editing, advertising, and public relations. Thank you very much for being with us, and please welcome him, sir.
So in these 2 days, we have been deliberating on several aspects of BeamStack. BeamStack has reduced the number of core areas from 16 to 7, and thankfully or thanklessly, sports does not feature anywhere in the narrowing or in the broadening of BeamStack. So if I would ask this auditorium, how many of you support a club from England or Italy? Please raise your hands. A lot of, so we have people supporting clubs from, when World Cup happens, Calcutta gets divided into Argentina and Brazil. Star Sports, I think 10 Sports runs an ad, Aapke Dusri Desh. Why do we say Aapke Dusri Desh? Your second home, your second country. Because sports is that cement that it's like air. We breathe it and we are not happy and we are not indebted to it. Every time you get out in the morning and take a jog in the joggers park, you're engaging in a sport. But the thing is, the joy of walking in a joggers park is not to lose weight. You will lose that eventually. It is to enjoy the morning sun, feel your feet on the grass, talk to a few other joggers in the morning, share the good and the bad, and be happy about it. We are connecting. So I think that's the brilliance of sports. So I'll be talking about sports. I'm very biased as far as sports is concerned. I wanted to be a sportsman, but an accident stopped me. So sports left me. I didn't leave sports. I've been a sports reporter. I teach sports. And it's been my... And if you look at India, in our subconscious, sports is ingrained. I would not say that Ayodhya in the times of Ramayana had a Ayodhya Premier League. No, it did not. But it had sports in its own way, in its own form. If we know the legend, then Bali was a superb wrestler. He even defeated Ravana in a battle of Mallakham. And then Bali and Sugriv fought freestyle wrestling, in which Ram did show his archery skills. Let's come to Mahabharata. Indraprastha was handed over by a roll of dice. Arjuna formed a brilliant alliance, just shooting an arrow. Mahabharata was half won when Bhim destroyed Duryodhana with a blunt mace in Gada Yuddha. And all that was for dharma sansthapanarthaya, to establish the rule of good. So sports and goodness and connectivity is in the very soul of our existence, and we can't deny that. So sports as soft power, a concept developed by Joseph Nye in the 1980s to persuade nations into talking and building relations. But then again, I found something very interesting in Chanakya Niti by Kautilya, where he talks about Sam, Dam, Tanda, Bhed, where Sam is the first basic approach of motivation, explaining the way the work is done, maybe through standard operating procedure of verbal communication. When we detail the work, person gets deeper knowledge and develops interest as well. We need to listen and understand their problem, convince them about management perspectives. Solution can be worked out to a complex problem through negotiations. Sometimes expertise from external or internal agencies can help. The essence of soft power. So, in our diplomatic life, we have come across a new coinage, sporticization. So we have been using this term of late. Why sporticization? What can sports do? What other forms of bilateral relations can't? Sports are central to our hobbies in a modern society. So everyone, even someone as fat as me, engage in sports. Maybe indoor, but we do. Sports is considered entertaining, enjoyable, peaceful, yet passionate. We can be very passionate about supporting our nation, but believe me, when India is not playing Bangladesh, I support Bangladesh in cricket because I feel the Bengali connect. Agarota bag mathe nemeche. That's the kind of feeling. So why do I do that? There is a cultural connect. There is a people-to-people connect. There is a language connect. Sports have become an instrument of identity for a race and culture. You almost remember countries because of their sporting icons. I don't know how many of you would be able to tell me details about the Caribbean islands, but you will all know from where Usain Bolt comes. You will. You will not be able to tell me which town did Muhammad Ali hail from, but we all know about the legend of the Ali. Why is it? Because it's an instrument, and so nowadays we see sports actively taking part in social change, taking the knee, Black Lives Matter, but it started so long ago. I'll come to that a little later. Sports and modern politics are great subject. A lot of times they are mixed together for the reasons of state to serve a cause, good or bad. We need to get serious about sports. The only time we get serious about sports in Bengal is when we say khela hobe. But we have to go beyond that. So we need to be seriously thinking of sports as a game and not just a game changer. Finally, globalization and the mass media have accelerated the influence of sports to the creation of global ambassadors. I was just talking about several global ambassadors. They have fan following. I think as far as India is concerned, the biggest and the overreaching influence is of cricket. So the cricketers, they form a very important part of being global ambassadors. Similarly, other countries also have their ambassadors. And they create a goodwill. They create a positive image about a country, and it helps open doors where others see a wall. So sports is about finding a door in that dark wall where you have never found a way through. India has sent the message that if SAARC wasn't ready to deliver, India had BIMSTEC to turn to, and as seen in the context of India's heightened interest and commitment to its Act East policy. And sports slipped in effortlessly in this setup. India has always believed that in order to be a name in the world, you first need strong neighbors, bound by friendship and cultural bond that has passed with flying colors the test of time. If India were to build itself into a global power, a friendly neighborhood shall definitely be play a very crucial role in it. Let me re-emphasize on the word very. So India has reached out to its neighbors with the best intentions and a giver's heart. When you give, you get a lot more. You might give this much, but what you get in return is love, respect, and that cannot be counted in numbers, in weightage, in kilometers, in pounds. It's that overreaching, getting back, that's so important. With Nepal and Myanmar, India has a shared past. With Nepal, we have been building sporting relations regularly, and now we have Nepalese players in ISL, we have Nepalese players in IPL, and this can only grow. There is no stopping. As far as Myanmar is concerned, Myanmar has come back to cricket after a gap. I think both Myanmar and India has a shared past. Both were British colonials, and after the Japanese takeover, they tried to shun away everything that was British, and that's how slowly cricket got away from the public consciousness. But now it's coming back, and cricket is again an important part of the Myanmar sporting culture. And even as we talk, today I think India and Myanmar are again playing football in a Tri-Nation Cup in Manipur. We are connecting yet again. And why Manipur? Because of the close people-to-people connect we can build with Northeast and Myanmar. There is so much of similarity, and so much more can be done just by opening the doors and playing football. Let's come to India and Bangladesh. If anyone tells me my second home, it's Bangladesh. Not because I have my roots there, because of the similar affiliations and the similar cultural past we have. I will come to two anecdotes, but before that, I would like you all to hear this gentleman.
Where we come here to take a part of the history of the cricket, and it is the first day-night test match in our subcontinent, Bangladesh, and also I do have Indian cricket team. The cricket lovers are crazy. I also crazy for this cricket.
This gentleman had come down from Bangladesh to see the first ping ball test, the day-night test, and there was this huge number of people from Bangladesh who had come down to Eden Gardens to see this test match. Madam Sheikh Hasina had come down, and she was sitting along with the Indian dignitaries, and I'm sure they just didn't talk about how Shakib hit a 4 or how Virat hit a 6. So as they were playing on the ground, a lot more must have been talked about on the dinner table. They say some of the best business relations are done on the golf course. I think on the sidelines of a cricket match, a lot more diplomatic relations can be broached. Here I would like to talk about a gentleman called Mr. Jagmohan Dalmia. I have been with cricket, and cricket has been with me for the last 35 years. And I've had the opportunity of being very close to Mr. Jagmohan Dalmia, and he was one who always thought that unless the Asian bloc was created, we will not be able to take on the might of England and Australia. So he worked overtime. He worked, and I know it for sure, he worked overtime because being a sports reporter, I would always pester him for exclusives, and to form this Asia bloc. And when he became the ICC president, he made sure that the veto powers of England and Australia were gone, and that helped in Sri Lanka becoming a test playing nation. Now the love and respect we got back from the Sri Lankan cricketers and the people in general from the island superseded the shared past, because now India had become a part of their national pastime. Similarly, forming the Asian Cricket Council and making, I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman immediately, the first president of Asian Cricket Council, he was from Bangladesh. It was a conscious decision to push the country forward. And again in 2000, when test status was accorded to Bangladesh, India was the most vociferous campaigner for the country itself. The results are evident. We have played several tours in Bangladesh. Every time I've been to Dhaka or to Chittagong, the amount of love we've got from the people there, and I'm telling you from my personal experience, even when I've gone to Sri Lanka, the amount of love I've got from the people. Oh, you're an Indian journalist. Why don't you? I had met a doctor in Colombo during the last tour I went was just before tsunami, I guess. So he invited me for dinner. And we had just met in the restaurant. He told me, my house is just down the, why don't you all come? So we used to stay near Hotel Samudra, I guess, in Colombo. So, and I don't know why he invited me for dinner, because we didn't even know each other. But we talked about a whole lot of things. And that was not only cricket. And I think that is the power of sports. India, Thailand. Wow, what a past, what a history we share. Buddhism, Hinduism, and now India and Thailand are actively promoting the yoga and the wellness tour and the Muay Thai tourism. Thanks to the Muay Thai tourism, now we have girls like Ritu Phogat in one championship, Arjun Bhullar in one championship. If I'm not wrong, one of the champions from Thailand is Hong Nam. He's one of the biggest names in one championship, and he's quite closely followed by young Indians who see MMA, who see mixed martial arts. Besides that, football, archery are also areas where we are constantly talking and we are working. But there is a lot more that can be done. Let's talk about a little bit more about Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. In IPL, we have such a liberal sprinkling of players from both these nations in IPL. Even now, Sri Lanka has players in the Pro Kabaddi League. And in the Pro Volleyball League this time, there were 8 Bangladesh players and I think 5 Sri Lankan players who were up in the auction. So you see, we are talking. We are trying to open up channels. Here, I would like to talk about this gentleman who, even while he was behind bars, had a mind that was active and sporting. And here is what he says.
Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sport can create hope where once there was only despair.
Sports can create hope where once there was only despair. And I think diplomacy means that, creating hope where once there was So how can BIMSTEC Nation build on this? Hosting mega events, exporting sports culture, providing training, help build infrastructure. India has been doing this a lot. They have helped build stadiums in Afghanistan, in Maldives, and creating sport icons and sending them as brand ambassadors to different countries. What you do is you connect, you remain active among nations, people start taking notice about you, you keep learning about each other's culture and shared past and the future that it entails, and it creates an atmosphere of love. So only by engaging in a game of sport can you get all of this. So BIMSTEC, in ancient Rome, during Olympic celebrations, the Ekkacheria was announced so that athletes and religious pilgrims could travel safely from cities to the games. Ekkacheria was a kind of an Olympic truce between the different fighting countries so that the athletes could move safely. We need to form a common sports policy among the BIMSTEC nations. This, if we are already 25 years back, so we should have formed it yesterday. But now also we are not late. If we decide and form a sports policy, Budgetary allocations need to rise on sports. Regular sporting exchanges and bilateral sports and tri-nation sports or seven-nation sports should happen. Holding each other to develop sports, holding hands, creating research in sports by digging into our cultural past, and we can surely find unifying sources that will take us to the next level. Include sports as an important subject in nation building, because nothing helps to build a nation than sports. And finally, create something like the South Games we have, or Beamsteak Games, which is a multi-sport event where all the Beamsteak countries can participate. It can be a biennial event, a quadrennial event, an annual event. It doesn't matter, but as long as it's there, as long as there is a goal. India has taken up projects like Khelo India, Khel Mahotsav, and there is this huge focus on sports, not just for anything, but because our Prime Minister realizes that sports is and is going to be the medium that will open up new vistas between countries. It's that unseen key that can unlock many doors. And if we are not aware of it now, it's time to be aware. I would finish with another small video. This is by Andrew Billings. He's a TEDx speaker, and most of his speeches, if we follow him, it's out of sports and sports in context.
When I was 21 years old, my father passed away early in the morning after a very brief illness. I spent that day in shock. But I spent that evening watching my Green Bay Packers win a football game. At halftime, I ate for the first time all day. And I know sports should not have mattered on a day like that day, but they did. 20 years later, I continue to work to try and advance the core lesson of that day. Sports have power, therefore, we need to teach sports. Not how to play them, I think we have that covered, but how to consume them, how to understand them, how to talk about them. Because when we...
I'll come back to the video again, how to understand sports, how to consume it, and how to interpret sports. See, he said three very important things at one go. I'll just play the video once again.
Win a football game. At halftime, I ate for the first time all day. And I know sports should not have mattered on a day like that day, but they did. 20 years later, I continue to work to try and advance the core lesson of that day. Sports have power, therefore, we need to teach sports. Not how to play them, I think we have that covered, but how to consume them, how to understand them, how to talk about them. Because when we teach sports, we often teach those larger issues as well. Gender, domestic violence, religion, identity.
So when we are teaching sports, we are not only teaching sports, we are teaching a lot more. So in the end, in modern institutional relations, cooperation plays a vital role in not merely strengthening alliances, but also in showcasing the human face of a nation. Sport surpasses linguistic, socio-political, cultural, and cross-border differences. It is an integral part of sharing ideas, common interest, and culture among people of different nations. Along with establishing dialogues and exchanges that are beneficial for both the countries, it surprisingly opens diplomatic doors beyond the sphere of sports as countries begin to believe in each other's capacity, capability, and that modicum of trust that already existed now blossoms into full-fledged bilateral relations. Thank you.
Basu spoke about the power of sports. I'll give you two examples in my life when I really witnessed the power of sport. One was the World Cup final in 1998 in Paris between Brazil and France. I was there to watch that match. And France, Zidane, the footballer in France, scored 3 goals against Brazil. And they won the World Cup. And from that moment onwards, people were shouting all over the Paris, and maybe I was in Paris, but must have been all over the France, that they would like Zidane to be the next president of France. That's the power of sports. Then I was in Rio de Janeiro, to watch the World Cup final in 2014. And I was flying from Frankfurt to Rio. And while flying, I was flying Lufthansa. And the pilot announced that I think it was 9 or 10 goals probably. The Germany defeated Brazil, and what a merrymaking was taking place in the flight. Normally you are not supposed to dance when the aircraft is flying, but I think the pilot gave that permission. The people were singing and dancing. And when I landed in Rio, you must have heard of that beach Copacabana. My hotel was in Copacabana. The entire Rio, the spectators came driving their own cars. There was no place in any hotel. And I think just in Copacabana, there were about 700 to 800 cars who had come all the way from Argentina. The municipal authorities has allowed them to stay on the road, to stay in the car, and to cook food on the footpath. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, people are cooking food, people are dancing, people are merrymaking. They are cooking food in the car, exchanging food with each other, and all the people came all the way to Argentina to watch the final match between Argentina and Germany. I mean, that's the power of sports. So, I totally agree with you, sir, that sports can, and look at our country. I was in Bangladesh, I told you last week, and there was a young team there, and they came from Nepal and other countries to play kabaddi in Bangladesh. I was always under the impression that kabaddi was the national game of India, but I was wrong. I was told that the kabaddi is the national game of Bangladesh. I mean, I would know that. I didn't know that. So people were there to play kabaddi. I mean, they're from Bangladesh, Nepal. They were strong kabaddi. I never knew this. I thought it's apna desi khel hai, So sports is a very uniting factor. Now the question is, we had to close this session at 12 noon, and we have 10 minutes for question hour session. I don't know whether we should go ahead with that. I mean, can I have the permission? We have 5 minutes on that. Okay. So 5 minutes for a question answer session. So the house is open to you. You may ask question to any of our panelists. You may ask any question to me as a chairman, though I do not have an expertise in this subject, but anyway, the house is open to you. So anybody can raise their hand, and you may direct your question to any of the people present here on the dais. Anyone, please? So, yes, sir. Sir, please introduce yourself and then, yeah. Sir, take the mic, sir.
I'm Professor Gurmeet. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Pondicherry University. I have a quick question for Mr. Basu, because I too have been a sports person. Don't you think that sports in our country for a very long time was a neglected entity, and now only we have woken up to take it in the right direction? Just a quick comment.
Hello. Yeah, you are absolutely correct. See, what we had done with sports is that we had done a lot of politics with sports. So sports as a subject has to be removed from politics, so later on we could do politics using sports. So we did all the politics before sports began. It's just in the last 10 years or so that India has really focused on sports as a subject, with several programs that have been taken by the government of India, to begin with sports people becoming sports ministers. It's so important to have the sports person at the helm of sport bodies, because they understand the game, they have faced the difficulties, they know the pros and the cons of the ins and outs. So that has to be there. And second thing is, this country of late has started nurturing sports at a nursery level. So Khelo India has got a nursery, has got a distinct and a very detailed nursery program. Unless we enter into a nursery program and we inbuilt a sporting culture among young boys and girls, sports is never going to develop in a country. Thank you, sir.
Any other question? No. And also, the next item was that I was given 10 minutes to speak on the comments, but I think I would like to skip that because we have already. So there's a question. Oh, there is a question. One question. Yeah, I didn't say. Okay, please give a mic. Please give a mic.
Hello, my name is Shopnil Biswas. I am a student of political. So my question is for Sir Jigme Nirup and anyone. Anyone can take it from the panel. There was a suggestion for a liberal visa regime with respect to BIMSTEC. But as we know, the real situation in South Asia and the region where BIMSTEC is there standing has its own share of problems with regards to security concerns and concerns on national security of the member states. So for how long can we go on with idealist suggestions rather than looking on to the realist and pragmatic realities of the region that is at hand, or the region about which we are talking? So isn't that existing should be solved first in order to implement idealist policies that have been discussed here? Thank you.
This session was not on security or national security or on terrorism, where actually India is the group leader. The session on this was actually connectivity. So you are asking a question which was not the subject of this seminar. So it would be better if you ask a question which is the subject to this seminar, because this was not the subject here. So but anybody would be willing to answer that, I don't mind, on terrorism and, yeah, Mr. Cook would be, just a minute, Mr. Cook would be answering your question, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is where, when we look at the problems that we have amongst ourselves, we have a lot. If we wait to resolve every issue, every bilateral issue between countries, we're not going to see BIMSTEC take off. We're not going to see progress. We're not going to see a future for BIMSTEC. We might as well forget it. That's not going to be the future. The future is looking for the common denominators, and those common denominators are there. The common denominators are present. We have to highlight those over the challenges, look for those opportunities. Even this particular forum, we've had 3 technical sessions. We have 2 more lined up for the course of the day. Everyone who's come up here, who's been here, everything that has been put forward has got to now be streamlined into some kind of policy paper coming out of this conference. That is where we're not going to see something idealistic, but something realistic happening. That has got to feed into ministries of foreign affairs and external affairs around the region. They've got to look at it. It should go to the BIMSTEC Secretariat, Secretary General, the directors to delve over it, take it up at future forums. This is where we're taking tangible measures. That's where we're going to see realistic action over the problems that we have, and that's the only way we're going to be able to overcome those.
Sir, we are closing this session because we have already crossed 10 minutes more.
I just had one small comment. This is for you. You had asked. So I remember of say 4 lines of a poem I had read a long time back. One man awake with dawn in his eyes multiplies. I think that answers the question. So if this conference can wake to the dawn, I think it will multiply. So there is nothing called an ideal. There is no idea which is good unless it is absurd.
Close this session, and may I request to carry this vote of thanks for all our speakers who spoke today. May I request you to please give them a vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, panelists. May I please request an ISCS official to come and felicitate the chair with a memento. I request Mr. Khaitan to kindly felicitate our speakers. Thank you, everyone. With this, we come to the end of technical session 3.